Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today is the 4th day of our Saw series, which again was falsely advertised by me next week because they switched the release date of Spiral on me, which by the way I should be able to watch. I'm trying to get tickets for that Saturday show, so wish me luck because I'd love to do a review of that on the channel. But we are on day 4, which means we're going to be talking about Saw 4. Saw 4 was released in 2007. It was written by Patrick Melton and Marius Dunstan and directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. So this is not Bousman's first time directing. This is, I believe, his 3rd time directing. But I do believe this is the first time we've seen these writers. Am I correct? I am correct. So it's the first time that Lee Wannell was not the writer of the movie. And honestly, it does show quite a bit, unfortunately, right? So this is the one where we have the autopsy, right? Because spoilers for the previous Saws, and honestly probably spoilers for this Saw, so I apologize if I do spoil any of the Saw movies here. But we see that Jigsaw has passed away in the 3rd movie, right? And he wakes up here. Well, he doesn't wake up, but they're cutting him open. They get into his stomach, and then there's a cassette tape that flows out of his fluids, right? And they're like, oh, he swallowed a cassette tape, right? Which was foreshadowed in the previous movie, but never actually shown, okay? And essentially, this movie is set at the same exact time as Saw 3, okay? So we have the autopsy that is in present time. Then we see the entire rest of the movie as a flashback, where we see Detective Hoffman, who has been helping this whole time, basically the same thing that happened to Amanda. And I'm like, that is not original at all, for one, right? They already did this with Amanda, okay? The only big difference here is that it has to do with the detective, which is more important, arguably, than some junkie they found on the side of the road. And I'm trying not to be too upset about it, but honestly, it's a big letdown, because I was really looking forward to this, right? Because Saw 3 was really good, Saw 2, Saw 1 was fantastic. And I was like, okay, if we can continue this train, it'd be great. I didn't literally think they were going to be like, alright, well, here's the same movie from a different perspective, basically. And then they had, alright, so they had that going on, right? Then they had this weird set of people going through traps that had nothing to do with the movie. I'm literally not even going to talk about the traps because they almost have nothing to do with the actual core of the movie. I mean, there is, right? Because Lieutenant Rigg is there, and he's going through this whole thing. This is the only untested person. But, like, his tests don't seem significant, right? Especially in comparison to the other traps and tests that we had in the previous films. They just didn't seem as important. And the more we get into this in the next couple movies, I've already seen up to Saw 6 and watching Saw 7 and Jigsaw today. The more we talk about this, so like tomorrow's movie and the day after that, the more you'll see that I think that they just kind of get worse. And it really is quite unfortunate because it's really cool. It's a cool idea. And I don't think that running them consecutively was a good idea. I don't, right? Because for me, I watched Saw 3 at night, and then I woke up the next morning and watched Saw 4, okay? So I had like a 12-hour difference in watching them, okay? And this was released a year after Saw 3. So imagine you're watching them as they come out, and you're waiting for this next one, and it's basically just the same thing as the previous one, but with an extra character that, like, wasn't there. And it's like, who else are they going to add to these Saw movies that have just been there the whole time, miraculously, and, like, they just didn't show it on camera? I get that. I do. I think it's cool. And mainly because I think it worked for Amanda. It worked pretty well for Amanda. I'm not going to lie. I liked it how it worked for Amanda. But I don't think it works quite well for Hoffman here, especially considering it's already been done in the previous movie for the same exact film, just back in the same time period. And also, I just want it to progress. I want it to go farther. I want Jigsaw back, right? Because this isn't Jigsaw. This really isn't. And we see that Hoffman here, he isn't very good at being Jigsaw, right? But we'll get into that more later on. But, like, he's just not. And it's unfortunate because Jigsaw is so cool, and they only gave us 3 movies with him. And I'm like, I don't know why they decided to kill him off so early. But it is kind of sad. Let's talk about some of the acting here. We have Costas Mandylor as Lieutenant Mark Hoffman. So, I don't think he was great. And again, like, character aside, I don't think he was great. I think that he was okay. He was just like We need a person to play this. I'm like, this guy here. I'm like, okay, like, nothing special. He did nothing special to help his character here. It's all very, very one-dimensional. He doesn't really change at all, and it loses interest for me very quickly. Lyric Bent as Lieutenant Daniel Rigg. I actually really like Daniel Rigg here. I liked him a lot. I liked him in the first movie he was in, which I believe was Saw 2. And like, I like that we're continuing his storyline a little bit, even if it's a little cheesy and doesn't really work for me. I am still excited we get to see him a little bit, because we kind of thought that was it for him. And I think Lyric Bent is good. I really do. I hope we see him again in the future, although I'm hesitant to believe we're not going to. But that's okay. I did like his character, and there's some things that I do like him in the movie. They have really cool transitions where they literally will like throw somebody out of a room and it'll just be a different like scene, and they do those practically. Like, you can tell they're not edited. I think maybe one of them was edited, which is when somebody was walking by, but even that one might have been practical. I'm not entirely sure, but it's impressive. And like, I like some of the traps. The traps were fine. None of them were like super excitingly important. And like, the more and more I get into this, the less and less I care about the other traps, right? Because in the beginning you're like, oh, these traps are cool because they make you think. These ones don't really make you think very much. But I'll get into that in future videos about Hoffman's Jigsaw. But that pretty much sums up my thoughts on this movie. Again, really not my favorite Saw movie by far, and honestly, they're getting worse. It's very sad. But I'm gonna go ahead and give Saw 4 a B. We're going down, my friends. We're going down. I'm yelling timber. Thank you so much for watching this. If you guys like Saw, make sure you guys are subscribing. If you guys like listening to movie reviews and all that kind of stuff, I'm your guy. I love doing this. I do this all the time, so make sure you guys are subscribing. It's a huge, huge help. And make sure you guys like the video, share it with your friends if you guys thought it was fun. And thank you so much for watching. And as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.